Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukutali.
Well, a warm welcome to you. This is, of course, Newsline Live. It's a somber evening, of course, because so many of our fellow citizens around the country have been affected by the disastrous flood situation in parts of the country. And, of course, our thoughts, our prayers, and in terms of our group, our action is geared towards those unfortunate people who've been affected by this current weather conditions. And the Gammadda, the Sahana Yatra team are going to all sorts of places where their help and assistance is needed, where people are suffering. Now, for example, tomorrow we've got a team that's going up towards Puttlam. They've already been there. There's another team going up to Puttlam tomorrow, and another team going towards Jaffna, and also another team going to Rambukkana. Of course, very close to my heart, because that's my hometown, but that's got nothing to do with it. The people out there are suffering, and the Sahana Yatra team are winging its way there. That's what's going to happen tomorrow. Earlier, we spoke to the group director of the Capital Maharaja group, Mr. Shawan Daniel, about what exactly the Sahana Yatra team are doing out there. And before I introduce my guest, let's see if we can join Mr. Daniel, which we did a recording earlier this evening. Let's see. Control room.
The Gammadda Sahana Yatra teams were able to reach the most affected communities in the Puttlam district this morning. We were able to deploy 3 teams, and they were able to hand over urgently required relief items, dry rations, etc. to these communities, particularly those taking shelter at relief centers in these areas. We've seen the water levels recede, but as you can imagine, once your home is ravaged by 10 to 12 feet of water, it takes quite some time before any sense of normalcy can return. So we want to make sure that these communities have a decent meal, and also that they're safe and they have medication if required, and support the authorities as much as possible. And that's why Gammadda responded as quickly as we possibly could. We couldn't have done it without all of you, the people of Sri Lanka who responded so quickly, particularly the Asia Pacific Disaster Management Alliance, APAD, and also several other companies that came forward and individuals. So we're very thankful for that response. We will be deploying a fresh convoy tomorrow, one to Kilinochi, another to Puttlam again, and the third to Rambukkana. And we'll be sending several truckloads of relief items to help these communities at their time of need. As you can imagine, families are already facing tumultuous difficulties with COVID, the cost of living, and so many other things, and then to lose sometimes everything you have owned to floodwaters, to be left without a home, place to sleep at night, a place to take care of your children, leaves people in a terrible state of helplessness, and that's where we feel that we can make their lives a little bit better until they get the help that they really need. So, once again, a big thank you to everybody who contributed to Gammadda Sahana Yatra. We'll be off early tomorrow morning again to these areas, and hopefully the waters recede quickly, the rain stays away, and we can then begin the difficult task of helping these people rebuild their lives over the next couple of weeks. Thank you.
Thank you to Shawan Daniel, the group director at the Capital Maharaja group, who's overseeing this operation. And this evening I'm joined by a director of the Disaster Management Center, and we're very grateful that they've taken the time out to come and join us, and of course, but it's a very important matter that they're doing, and our organization, our networks have been very, very helpful, and we continue to be helpful, because that's all part of being the people's voice, after all. And let me introduce my guest this evening, Mr. Sugat Dissanayake, who's the director at the Disaster Management Center. Very good evening to you, Mr. Dissanayake.
Very good evening.
Thank you very much for coming here. So it must be pretty hectic time for you at the moment, with all this. But I just thought, let's get a quick background to what is it that the Disaster Management Center does?
Yeah. First of all, I would like to thank Sirasa TV network for inviting us for this discussion, because of these days is most important to aware the people, general public in our country. So
thank you.
Then you know that before 2004 we had proper disaster management mechanism in our country.
We didn't have.
We didn't have proper disaster management mechanism like today. So then after tsunami 2004, with tsunami 2004, we lost more than 35,000 people in our motherland. Not only that, we lost billion and billion value properties in our country. And also, like you know that infrastructure like hospital, school, houses, road, bridge, like that, etc., etc., like that. In addition to that, most of the people who were living around the coastal belt, they were totally depressed. So this is the unbearable situation in our country. Then the government request assistance from the international community also. Then after 2004 tsunami, the government has given the first priority for the disaster management.
Right.
As a result, that's
how the DMC came into being.
The 2004 number 13/2004 Disaster Management Act came. Under the Disaster Management Act, Disaster Management Center established as a leading institute for government, for overall responsible to protect the people and property any kind of disaster. And
on that note, if you want to send us your questions, you may do so, of course, by SMS or by WhatsApp. And the number to do that is 0772 300 305. You should be seeing a card up on your screen soon. Send us your questions on 0772 300 305. And Mr. Dissanayake, that's nice that the government have taken proactive action in 2004, soon after the tsunami. And so, what are the activities that your DMC does?
Under the DMC established under the Disaster Management Act, that is, and Disaster Management Center is the leading government institute and overall responsible to protect the people and property any kind of disaster in our country. Based on that, Disaster Management Center is implementing a lot of activities based on the disaster risk management in country. For example,
give us an example.
You know that disaster mitigation activities, disaster preparedness activities, disaster awareness and training activities, and the coordinating activities. You know that disaster management is not isolated job, that is everybody's business in the country. So therefore, according to the purview of the Disaster Management Act, Disaster Management Center has a very big role as a coordinating body of the country.
What kind of disaster mitigating matters do you do?
There are two types of mitigation activities. You know that is structural mitigation activities and non-structural mitigation activities. So you know that under the Disaster Management Center we have established 25 district disaster management coordinating unit, each district in our country. Okay, then all the district disaster management coordinating unit responsible to manage the district level disaster risks in respective district. So
carry on, go on. That's a sort of a mitigating method that you do. Do you get directly involved in say the maintenance of rivers? Do you all get directly involved in that?
No. We do not directly involved with the river management or river flood management. So you know that that is the irrigation department is the technical institute for flood management for our country.
I see.
So disaster management center working with the irrigation department, not only irrigation department, other technical institute like National Building Research Organization and the Fisheries Department, and also the National Meteorological Department,
right,
and also the National Disaster Relief Service Center, and all the disaster management center has the very big role in the coordinating. You know that disaster management center coordinate all the relevant ministries, all the relevant department, institute, UN agencies, INGOs, NGOs, CBOs, and also the Army, Navy, Air Force, Police. Not only that, especially in all the printed and electronic media in our country.
And we'll come to, in a few minutes after the break, we'll talk about what the Disaster Management Center is doing in terms of the flooding and the disaster this time round. But just wanted to ask you, what about equipment? What sort of equipment does the Disaster Management Center have? Do you have boats? Do you have whatever? What do you have?
Actually, Disaster Management Center has is the main coordinating body. All the relevant equipment and other relevant
like tents or whatever.
Tents or that. We coordinate all the relevant institute. For example, in the Disaster Management Center is main responsibility to the coordinating. The relief and rehabilitation and reconstruction activities under the separate institute, you know that National Disaster Relief Service Center. So they are the responsible to provide the relief and reconstruction and rehabilitation and relocation activities. But DMC is the coordinated that type of activities. And also, if we need any high equipment and vehicle and other things, we coordinate all the government and non-government organization for fulfill that requirement. In national level, district level, divisional level, and the village level. You know, earlier I mentioned that the Disaster Management Center has established 25 district disaster management coordinating unit. This unit work with the district under the with the district secretariat of the respective district, and also the division district level, there is a network with all the district level relevant ministries, department, agencies, Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, Civil Security, and also the INGOs, NGOs, CBOs, and all the stakeholder agencies. There is a network.
And Mr. Disanaka, I've got a question here from somebody, I think somewhere in Kurunegala, I believe, or in that area. How do you get your message of what services you provide to the public in areas that are deemed to have and declared to be a disaster area?
Yeah.
How do you get your message out?
Yeah, that is very important questions. Actually, you know that the technical institute, for example, in the meteorological department, provide prediction to the Disaster Management Center, and the Disaster Management Center and other technical institute provide that type. The Disaster Management Center and the other technical institute, you know that technical agencies, National Research Building Organization, Irrigation Department, Fisheries Department, and all the other including this technical institute or agencies monitoring this prediction, closely monitoring this prediction, and if the situation is critical, we inform, we disseminate early warning all the relevant areas and relevant district secretariat, divisional secretariat, and our office everywhere through using most. You know that Disaster Management Center has powerful early warning system.
Like I was about to ask you, what is that early warning system?
You know that Disaster Management Center, earlier I mentioned that the Disaster Management Center is responsible to protect the people and property any kind of disaster in our country. So based on that, Disaster Management Center has established powerful early warning system. We use lot of mode to disseminate early warning around the country. You know, for example, now we have established 77 tsunami towers around the coastal belt. Okay. In addition to that, we have used VHF communication and web, telephone, SMS.
So you're using all technology.
Yeah.
We'll come back to your explanation. We've got to go for a break right now.
Okay.
Let's take a quick peek at this evening's headlines from the Newsfirst team, and we'll see you on the other side of the break. I'm in discussion with Mr. Sugat Disanayake, Director at the Disaster Management Center. We'll see you on the other side.
Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz. Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shaukhtali.
And welcome back to Newsline Live. I'm in discussion with Mr. Sugat Disanayake, Director at the Disaster Management Center. Now then, we were talking about what early warning systems does the DMC have in place. Please carry on.
Yeah. Earlier I mentioned that the Disaster Management Center has established a powerful early warning system covering entire country.
Right, like what are the items that you have?
Yeah, you know that early warning towers, VHF, HF communication,
Right.
SMS dune system, and also the website, through website and telephone and mobile phone. In addition to that, we use traditional system also. For example,
Right.
you know the temple, church, and there are
The places of religious worship.
yeah. And you know that some remote areas of our in our country, there is no electricity power and other infrastructure facilities. So these type of areas, we have provide manual silent and water manual silent. And also
there are sirens.
Silent, manual silent, and also the sound system for the speaker and like that.
Can I ask you, Mr. Disanayake, right now we're having terrible trouble in various areas, Putlam side, then up towards Kilinochi and Ramukan and so on.
Yeah.
How did these early warning systems work during this time?
Yeah, actually this rainy season, this rain started, I think, according to the information given by the 29th of October, and then the meteorological department provide that to us that forecasting warning. So then with that forecasting warning, the Disaster Management Center disseminate all the relevant district this situation, impromptu this situation through our early warning system, and given the relevant instruction also. And also we closely monitor that situation, and actually the issues is you know that at the present, I think according to at 2:30 today, the reported affected population about 62,200 around 47 affected population.
So were you able to get, did your early warning systems work for these people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know that the reason, the first of all, you should know the reason. What are the reason to increase disaster risk in our country at present?
Right. And what is that?
Global warming.
Right.
Climate change, unplanned development activities, and encroach in the river, encroach in the reservation area of the rivers and other water.
Which is why it's ever so important to have the rivers in Sri Lanka need to be managed. They need to be maintained. They can't be like unruly children.
And also rapidly increase the population in our country. Finally, you know that filling water catchment area. Those are the reason to increase present disaster risks in our country. Okay.
And
so then,
go on.
So then we closely monitor the situation and impromptu give the early warning all the relevant areas. But the problem, the people do not follow these early warning and instruction and also the advice given by the Disaster Management Center and the other technical institute. For example, at the moment, reported 22 deaths. More than 5 deaths. They do not follow our rules and regulation, our early warning. As a result of that, reported this.
So can I ask you, Mr. Dissanayake, who should be stopping the cutting of the clearing of trees, encroaching in the around the banks of the rivers, sand mining and so on? Who? I mean, you're looking at the other side because you are the recipient of work when these things happen and therefore disasters happen. So if you want to lessen your workload, you need to be able to say to the other side, listen guys, you need to do your job. Who are these other guys? Who are responsible for maintaining the rivers and the river banks and so on?
Actually, earlier I mentioned that disaster management is not isolated job, that is everybody's business in the country. The disaster management is critical and complex task. So in our country, according to the legal provisions of our country, so separate separate agencies has for that. For example, in the river management, the flood management is under the Ministry of Irrigation. The forest department is their responsibilities. In addition to the environment ministry, they have separate responsibility. Fisheries department, they have separate responsibilities. The disaster management center has only coordinating and implementing the disaster risk management activities. Unfortunately, till this moment, we haven't legal provisions to enforce to the people or institute or etc.
And have you brought this aspect to the notice of the secretary of the ministry? Under which ministry do you come under?
You know that now under the Ministry of under the State Ministry of State Security and Disaster Management, this state ministry is under the Ministry of Defence.
Right. So you all come eventually under the Minister of Defence, which is the President.
Yeah.
So what role does the President play in this then?
You know that according to the Disaster Management Act, you know that there is a powerful institute, we call that National Council for Disaster Management in based under the President, His Excellency President in Sri Lanka. And all the relevant ministries, including around 28 ministries, and also the chief ministers of each provincials. That is the composition of the National Council for Disaster Risk Management.
Does the Disaster Management Center, do you do something on the lines of our company that we are doing? As you walked in, you would have seen bags being packed and so on in our car park. This is what the public is sending us, and we are coordinating all that. We're just one company, one group. Do you all do the DMC? Do you also get involved in relief packages to people?
You know that Disaster Management Center working with all the relevant ministries, department, institute, INGOs, NGOs, CBOs, and also all the media, printed and electronic.
Right.
And we coordinate all the relief, rehabilitation and reconstruction activities throughout the country. For example, you know that the relief and reconstruction and rehabilitation activities under the Institute of National Disaster Relief Service Center.
Right.
That institute under the Ministry of State Security and
they-
Disaster Management.
So that organization is sending relief packages to the different areas.
Yeah.
Already done?
Yeah. We not the you
Already
know that,
doing?
Yeah. I earlier mentioned that the disaster management activities decentralized to the district.
Yes, I know. Well, all I want to know is
Yeah.
the question that the people ask.
Yeah.
Are these people getting relief packages through the government, or are they just
No.
waiting for companies like
No.
Maharaj
The
Group?
government has given the priority to provide cook meal to the affected population immediately.
And that is being done.
Under the district secretary and the divisional secretary and our officers, they are the monitoring everything.
Right.
And closely they are monitoring. Not
Good.
only this situation.
Very good.
Under the last
that
2-3
was a
years.
question somebody posed us, a member of the public. Thank you. And yes, in the answer to the other questions, if you want to make a donation to the relief measures to our Sahana Yatra project, in which we go to these areas, we have a fully hot team that gets off the mark no sooner there's a disaster and providing disaster relief. And the number, of course, the Sahana Yatra number is 076 525 000. I'll say that again. It's 076 5525 000. That's better, isn't it? 076 5525 000. That's the number if you want to make a donation to the Sahana Yatra team that are going out tomorrow. Remember again, tomorrow they're going towards Puttlam, another team is going up towards Kilonchi, and a third team is going towards Ramukana, where this is all happening. But Mr. Sugat Disanaika, thank you very much for coming and sharing your story of what the Disaster Management Center does. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's the way it was on Newsline Live this evening. Do take care. And it is, of course, raining out there, so do take care. It's now time for the 9 o'clock news. In the meantime, God bless you.